In the kingdom of Eldoria, where the sun's harsh rays have scorched the land and dried up its rivers, a tale of hope unfolds amidst the darkness. Close your eyes and let the whispers of the wind carry you away as we embark on a journey of courage, redemption, and the boundless power of destiny. Within the heart of the royal palace, King Alden and his counselors grapple with the kingdom's dire plight. But amidst the despair, a glimmer of hope emerges as an ancient prophecy is revealed, promising salvation to those who dare to believe. And so, a quest is set into motion, guided by the words of the prophecy and fueled by the unwavering determination of those who would defy fate itself. Join us now as we journey into the depths of the forgotten forest, where the bridge of illusions awaits, ready to test the courage and resolve of our heroes. Close your eyes, dear listeners, and let the tale unfold. For in the realm of dreams, anything is possible. The Bridge of Illusions. Chapter 1. The Drought Begins. The kingdom of Eldoria lay parched under the relentless sun, its once bountiful rivers reduced to trickling streams. The earth cracked and groaned underfoot, a dry, desolate expanse where crops had once flourished. The skies, perpetually cloudless, mocked the desperate prayers of the people. The air hung heavy with dust and despair, and the once prosperous kingdom seemed on the brink of collapse. In the heart of the capital, the royal palace stood as a silent witness to the kingdom's suffering. Within its grand halls, King Alden paced anxiously, his furrowed brow deepening with each passing day. His counselors, a group of grim-faced men and women, stood in a semicircle, their expressions mirroring the king's worry. "We have exhausted every resource, Your Majesty," said Lord Varick, the chief advisor, his voice tinged with frustration. "The wells are dry, the reservoirs nearly empty. If we do not find water soon, our people will not survive the coming months." The king paused, turning to face his counselors. "There must be something we have overlooked, some solution we have yet to find," he said, his voice heavy with determination. "We cannot allow our kingdom to perish." "Perhaps there is hope yet, Your Majesty," came a voice from the doorway. All eyes turned to see an elderly scholar, clad in simple robes, holding a weathered scroll in his hands. "I have found an ancient prophecy that may hold the key to our salvation." King Alden's eyes narrowed as he gestured for the scholar to approach. "What is this prophecy you speak of, Aemon?" Aemon, the kingdom's most revered historian, stepped forward and unrolled the scroll with trembling hands. This prophecy, written in the old tongue, speaks of a hidden source of water beyond the bridge of illusions. It tells of a virtuous heroine and a cursed prince destined to undertake this perilous journey, aided by a loyal servant and a wise old man. The room fell silent as the counselors absorbed the gravity of Aemon's words. King Alden's gaze lingered on the scroll, his mind racing. "A bridge of illusions," he murmured. "What manner of trial does it present?" Aemon nodded solemnly. "The bridge is said to test the mind and spirit, confronting travelers with their deepest fears and desires. Only those with pure hearts and steadfast resolve can hope to cross it." The king straightened, his resolve hardening. "Then we must find these destined individuals and send them on this quest. Our kingdom's survival depends on it." The counselors exchanged uneasy glances. "But who among us fits the prophecy?" one of them asked. At that moment, the doors to the council chamber swung open, and a young woman strode in with an air of quiet confidence. Her eyes, clear and determined, scanned the room before settling on the king. "I will undertake this quest, Your Majesty," she declared. "I am Alara, daughter of Sir Edrin. My heart is steadfast and my resolve unwavering." King Alden regarded Alara with a mixture of hope and apprehension. "Are you certain, Alara? The journey will be fraught with danger, and the bridge will test you in ways you cannot imagine." Alara nodded, her gaze unwavering. "I am prepared, Your Majesty. For the sake of our kingdom, I will do whatever it takes." The king's eyes softened with gratitude. "Very well, but you will not go alone. We must find the others mentioned in the prophecy." As the council began to discuss potential candidates, a shadowy figure watched from a corner of the room, unseen by all. Prince Kale, his face half hidden in the shadows, listened intently. Though cursed and shunned, he knew deep in his heart that he too had a role to play in this quest. He would join Alara, not out of duty, but out of a desperate need for redemption. Outside the palace, the people of Eldoria continued their daily struggle for survival. Unaware that their fate now rested in the hands of a virtuous heroine, a cursed prince, and a prophecy as old as the kingdom itself. Chapter 3, The Virtuous Heroine. The morning sun filtered through the dense canopy of the forest as Alara led the way, her steps sure and purposeful. The journey ahead was fraught with uncertainty, but her resolve remained unshaken. The prophecy had chosen her, and she intended to honor that choice with every fiber of her being. As they walked, Alara's thoughts drifted back to her childhood. Raised in the modest home of Sir Edrin, a knight renowned for his bravery and integrity, she had learned the values of courage and compassion early on. Sir Edrin's teachings had shaped her into the woman she was today, and his memory was a constant source of strength. Ilara, Thane's voice broke through her reverie. Are you sure we're on the right path? Ilara glanced at the map Eamon had given her. Yes, Thane. We should reach the edge of the Forgotten Forest by nightfall. From there, it's a day's journey to the Bridge of Illusions. Chapter 2, A Dire Prophecy. The night was unusually quiet as the moon cast a pale glow over the kingdom of Eldoria. In the royal library, a place filled with the scent of ancient parchment and the soft rustle of pages, Eamon sat hunched over the prophecy scroll, his eyes flickering with the light of a single candle. King Alden stood behind him, the weight of the kingdom's fate pressing heavily on his shoulders. Eamon, tell me more about this Bridge of Illusions, the king urged, his voice barely above a whisper. What do we know of it? Eamon looked up, his gaze penetrating. The Bridge of Illusions is a construct of ancient magic, Your Majesty. It lies hidden in the Forgotten Forest, a place few dare to venture. The bridge is said to test the very essence of those who attempt to cross it, revealing their deepest fears and greatest desires. Only those who confront and overcome these illusions can pass. King Alden frowned. And this hidden source of water, it lies beyond the bridge? Yes, Eamon confirmed. The prophecy speaks of a hidden valley, a sanctuary blessed by the gods, where a magical spring flows with an endless supply of water. But the path is treacherous, and only the chosen can succeed. The king sighed, his thoughts turning to the brave individuals who would undertake this perilous journey. Ilara has volunteered, but we must find the cursed prince, the loyal servant, and the wise old man. Without them, the prophecy cannot be fulfilled. As if on cue, a figure stepped out of the shadows. Prince Kael, his eyes dark with a mix of determination and sorrow, approached the king. I will join this quest, father, he said quietly. I am the cursed prince, and it is my destiny to help save our kingdom. King Alden's eyes widened in surprise and apprehension. Kael, are you certain? Your curse brings misfortune to those around you. Kael nodded, his expression resolute. I am certain. This is my chance to make amends and prove my worth. I will not let the curse define me. The king's heart swelled with a mixture of pride and fear. Very well, my son, but you must be cautious. This journey will test you in ways you cannot imagine. With Kael's commitment, the next step was to find the remaining members of the prophesied group. Eamon suggested that they seek out Thane, Ilara's loyal companion and trusted confidant. Thane, known for his unwavering loyalty and resourcefulness, was the perfect candidate for the role of the loyal servant. Later that night, Alara and Kael made their way to Thane's modest home. They found him sharpening his sword, his face illuminated by the flickering light of a lantern. Thane looked up as they approached, his expression one of curiosity and concern. "Alara, Prince Kael, what brings you here at this hour?" Thane asked, setting aside his sword. Alara stepped forward, her voice steady. "Thane, we need your help. The kingdom is in grave danger, and we have been chosen to undertake a perilous quest to save it. Will you join us as the loyal servant mentioned in the prophecy?" Thane's eyes widened, and he glanced between Alara and Kael, sensing the gravity of the situation. "If it means saving our kingdom, I will gladly join you," he said firmly. "I will stand by your side, no matter the danger." With Thane's commitment secured, the group sought out Eamon, who had already volunteered to guide them. Eamon, the wise old man, possessed the knowledge and experience necessary to navigate the bridge of illusions and uncover the hidden source of water. As the first light of dawn crept over the horizon, the assembled group stood before King Alden. The king looked upon them with a mixture of hope and fear, knowing that the fate of Eldoria now rested in their hands. "May the gods watch over you and guide your steps," King Alden said, his voice filled with solemn reverence. "You are our last hope. Go forth and fulfill the prophecy. Save our kingdom." With that, the group set out on their journey, their hearts filled with determination and their minds focused on the daunting task ahead. The bridge of illusions awaited, and with it, the salvation of Eldoria. Thane nodded, his faith in her unshaken. He had stood by her side through countless trials, his loyalty unwavering. Together, they had faced bandits, wild beasts, and the hardships of life in Eldoria. This quest was unlike any other, but Thane trusted Alara's judgment implicitly. As they pressed on, Prince Kael remained a few paces behind, his thoughts a tangled web of doubt and determination. The weight of his curse was a constant burden, a dark shadow that seemed to follow him wherever he went. Yet, Alara's presence was a beacon of hope, a reminder that even the darkest night could give way to dawn. "Kael," Alara called, turning to face him. "We should talk." Kael approached, his eyes wary, but willing to listen. "What is it, Alara?" "I know this journey won't be easy for any of us, especially you," she said gently. "But I believe in you. Your curse doesn't define you, Kael. Your actions do." Chapter 4. The Cursed Prince. Dawn broke over the forgotten forest, casting a golden light that filtered through the thick canopy. The forest, though ancient and foreboding, held a strange beauty in the morning light. Prince Kale rose early, his sleep troubled by dreams of his past. He watched the first rays of sunlight pierce the shadows, contemplating the day ahead. Kale had not always been cursed. Once he had been the pride of Eldoria, a prince destined for greatness. But a single, fateful night had changed everything. It was a memory that haunted him, a dark ritual gone wrong, an angry spirit's vengeance, and a curse that marked him as a harbinger of misfortune. Since then, he had lived on the fringes, an outcast in his own kingdom. Alara found him standing at the edge of the camp, his face etched with sorrow. "Kale, are you ready to continue?" she asked gently. He turned to her, his expression softening. "As ready as I can be. This journey, it feels like my last chance to make things right." Alara nodded, her eyes filled with understanding. "We'll do it together. You're not alone in this." They broke camp quickly, eager to make progress before the sun reached its zenith. The forest grew denser, the path narrowing until it was barely more than a trail. Eamon led the way, his knowledge of the terrain invaluable. Thane brought up the rear, ever watchful for signs of danger. As they ventured deeper into the forest, the air grew cooler, the shadows longer. The sense of unease that had been a constant companion since they entered the forgotten forest seemed to intensify. It was as if the very trees whispered warnings, their leaves rustling with secrets long forgotten. Kale walked in silence, his thoughts consumed by the past. He remembered the faces of those he had unintentionally harmed, friends who had suffered, strangers who had crossed his path at the wrong moment. The curse weighed heavily on him, a constant reminder of his failure. But here, among these companions, he felt a flicker of hope. Perhaps, through this quest, he could find redemption. Eamon's voice broke the silence. "We are nearing the heart of the forest. The Bridge of Illusions lies not far ahead." The group halted at the edge of a clearing. Before them stood the Bridge of Illusions, a structure of ethereal beauty and unsettling presence. It appeared as a delicate arch of silver and glass, shimmering with a light that seemed to come from within. The bridge spanned a chasm so deep that its bottom was lost in darkness. "Remember," Eamon cautioned, "this bridge will test us in ways we cannot predict. It will show us our deepest fears and our greatest desires. Stay close and trust in each other." Alara stepped forward first, her heart steady with resolve. Kale followed, feeling a strange mix of dread and determination. Thane and Aemon brought up the rear, each preparing for the trials to come. As they set foot on the bridge, a ripple of magic washed over them, and the world around them shifted. The sky darkened, and the chasm below seemed to pulse with an otherworldly energy. Cale felt a shiver run down his spine, the hairs on the back of his neck standing on end. The bridge's surface was smooth and reflective, like a mirror. As they walked, Cale saw images flicker beneath their feet, visions of his past, moments of pain and regret. He clenched his fists, willing himself to stay focused. This was the bridge's power, to dredge up their deepest vulnerabilities. Do not look down, Aemon advised, his voice steady. Focus on the path ahead. Cale forced his gaze forward, his steps measured and deliberate. He could feel the bridge probing his mind, seeking out his weaknesses. Beside him, Alara walked with calm determination, her presence a source of comfort. Then, without warning, the bridge shifted. Cale found himself standing in a darkened room, the air thick with the scent of incense. He recognized the place instantly, the temple where the curse had been cast. Before him stood the spirit who had cursed him, its eyes burning with anger. You failed, the spirit hissed. You brought suffering upon your people. You are unworthy. Cale's heart pounded in his chest, but he refused to look away. I did fail, he admitted, his voice trembling, but I seek to make amends. I will not let this curse define me. The spirit's form wavered, its eyes narrowing. We shall see. And with that, the vision faded, leaving Kyle standing on the bridge once more. He took a deep breath, the weight of his fear lifting slightly. He had faced one of his inner demons, and though the journey was far from over, he felt a renewed sense of purpose. Alara reached out, placing a hand on his arm. Are you all right? Cale nodded, meeting her gaze with newfound determination. Yes, let's keep moving. We have a kingdom to save. Together, they continued across the Bridge of Illusions, each step bringing them closer to the hidden source of water and to their own salvation. And I know you have the strength to overcome it. Cale's eyes softened, the kindness in Alara's words like a balm to his troubled soul. Thank you, Alara. Your faith means more to me than you know. As the day wore on, the forest grew denser, the air thick with the scent of pine and earth. Aemon, ever the wise guide, regaled them with tales of the Bridge of Illusions and the trials they might face. His stories were a mixture of ancient lore and personal experience, each one a thread in the rich tapestry of Eldoria's history. Many have attempted to cross the bridge, Aemon said, his voice resonant with the weight of years. Few have succeeded. The bridge tests more than just your physical strength. It probes the very depths of your soul. Be prepared to face your darkest fears and your deepest desires. Nightfall found them at the edge of the forgotten forest, a vast expanse of ancient trees and shadowy undergrowth. They set up camp, the flickering flames of their fire casting long shadows that danced in the night. Alara sat apart from the others, her thoughts turning inward as she prepared for the trials ahead. She was the virtuous heroine, chosen by fate to lead this quest. But beneath her calm exterior, doubts lingered. Could she truly save Eldoria? Was she worthy of the prophecy's promise? These questions haunted her, but she knew she could not afford to falter. Her people depended on her, and she would not let them down. As she gazed into the flames, Alara felt a sense of calm settle over her. She was not alone. Thane, Kale, and Aemon were by her side, each of them playing a vital role in this journey. Together, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead, united by a common purpose and a shared hope. The night deepened, and the forest whispered secrets to those who would listen. Alara closed her eyes, letting the sounds of nature lull her into a fitful sleep. Tomorrow, they would enter the heart of the forgotten forest and begin their quest in earnest. The bridge of illusions awaited, and with it, the salvation of Eldoria. Chapter 5. The Loyal Servant. Thane walked with measured steps, his eyes scanning the path ahead. Loyalty had always been his guiding star, and now, as they crossed the Bridge of Illusions, that loyalty was put to the ultimate test. He had pledged his service to Alara long ago, vowing to protect her at all costs. Today, that vow took on a deeper significance. Alara led the way, her steps confident and sure. Kale followed, his expression a mixture of resolve and lingering shadows. Aemon, with his vast knowledge and calm demeanor, brought up the rear. They were a mismatched group, bound by a shared purpose and the threads of an ancient prophecy. As they moved forward, the bridge seemed to shift beneath their feet, each step a journey through the mind's deepest recesses. Thane felt the air grow colder, a chill that seeped into his bones. He gripped the hilt of his sword tightly, a reassuring weight in an uncertain world. Thane, Aemon's voice broke the silence. Remember, the bridge will test us all. Trust in your heart, and you will find the strength to overcome. Thane nodded, his jaw set with determination. He had faced many challenges in his life, but nothing like this. The bridge's magic probed his mind, seeking out his fears and weaknesses. memories surfaced. His childhood in a small village, the day he swore allegiance to Sir Edrin, the countless battles fought at Alara's side. Suddenly, the world around him blurred, and Thane found himself standing in a familiar place. He was back in his village, the fields lush and green. But something was wrong. The air was thick with tension, and the villagers' faces were etched with fear. "Thane!" a voice called out. He turned to see his younger self, a boy of 10, running toward him. The boy's eyes were wide with terror, his small hands clutching a tattered doll. "They're coming. The bandits are coming." Thane's heart ached at the sight. He remembered this day all too well. The day his village was attacked. The day he lost his family. He had sworn then to protect those he loved, to never let such a tragedy happen again. "I won't let it happen," Thane murmured, his voice firm. "Not this time." He moved through the vision with purpose, rallying the villagers, organizing a defense. The bandits came, just as they had in the past, but this time, Thane was ready. He fought with a ferocity born of years of training, and a heart steeled by resolve. The bandits were driven back, the village saved. As the vision faded, Thane stood on the bridge once more, his breathing heavy, but his heart lighter. He had faced his past, his greatest failure, and emerged stronger. The bridge had tested him, but he had proven his worth. Alara looked back, her eyes filled with concern. "Thane, are you all right?" He nodded, a small smile playing at his lips. "Yes, Alara, let's keep moving." The group continued, the bridge's magic still swirling around them. Thane felt a renewed sense of purpose, his loyalty to Alara and the quest unwavering. He knew that more trials awaited, but he was ready to face them. As they reached the midpoint of the bridge, a new illusion began to take shape. The air shimmered, and they found themselves standing in a grand hall filled with mirrors. Each reflection showed a different version of themselves, distorted and exaggerated. "This is another test," Eamon said, his voice echoing in the hall. "We must confront these reflections, these aspects of ourselves, to move forward." Thane stepped forward, his reflection shifting to show him as a towering warrior, his face hard and unyielding. He met his reflection's gaze, seeing the fear and anger that had driven him for so long. "I am more than this," he whispered, his voice steady. "I am loyal, not because of fear, but because of love. I protect, not out of anger, but out of hope." The reflection wavered, then shattered, leaving Thane standing in the hall, his heart light and his spirit strong. One by one, Alara, Kale, and Eamon faced their own reflections. each overcoming the illusions that sought to deceive them. When the last mirror shattered, the hall faded, and they stood once more on the bridge of illusions. Eamon smiled, a look of pride in his eyes. We are nearly there. The hidden valley lies just ahead. With renewed determination, the group pressed on, the bridge's trials behind them. They had faced their inner demons and emerged stronger, united in their quest to save Eldoria. The hidden source of water awaited, a promise of hope and salvation. Together, they would find it. Together, they would save their kingdom. Chapter 6: The Wise Old Man. The sun climbed higher in the sky as they drew closer to their destination. Eamon, the wise old man whose knowledge had been their guiding star, walked with a quiet confidence. His years of study and countless journeys had prepared him for this moment. And now, as they approached the hidden valley, his heart was filled with a sense of purpose. Eamon had always been a seeker of truths, delving into ancient texts and forgotten lore. His library was a treasure trove of knowledge, and it was there, among the dust and shadows, that he had first discovered the prophecy of the Bridge of Illusions. It had taken years of careful study to piece together the clues, but now, standing on the cusp of their goal, he felt a deep sense of satisfaction. How much further, Eamon? Thane asked, his voice breaking the silence. Not far, Eamon replied. The valley lies just beyond this ridge. We must remain vigilant. The final trial awaits us. Alara nodded, her gaze steady. We'll be ready. As they climbed the ridge, the air grew cooler, the scent of fresh water tantalizingly close. They reached the crest and looked down into a lush, verdant valley. At its center, surrounded by a ring of ancient trees, was a sparkling spring, the hidden source of water they had been seeking. The sight was breathtaking, but Eamon's eyes were drawn to something else. A figure standing by the spring, cloaked in shadow. As they descended into the valley, the figure stepped forward, revealing itself to be an ethereal being, its form shifting like smoke in the wind. Welcome, seekers, the being intoned, its voice resonant and otherworldly. I am the guardian of the spring. You have journeyed far and faced many trials, but one final challenge remains. Eamon stepped forward, his eyes locked on the guardian. We are here to save our kingdom. What must we do to prove ourselves worthy? The guardian's gaze swept over the group, its eyes penetrating and deep. To unlock the power of the spring, you must perform a selfless act of sacrifice. Only through true selflessness can the spring's magic be unleashed. Alara stepped forward, her heart pounding. What kind of sacrifice? The guardian's form shimmered. Each of you must confront your deepest desire and be willing to give it up for the greater good. Only then will the spring's waters flow freely. The group exchanged glances, the weight of the guardian's words sinking in. They had faced their fears, their pasts, and their reflections. But this final trial was the most daunting of all. Eamon looked into the spring, its waters clear and inviting. He knew what he had to do. "I will go first," he said, his voice steady. He reached into his satchel and pulled out an ancient tome, the culmination of his life's work. This book contains the knowledge I have spent my entire life gathering. I offer it as a sacrifice. The guardian's eyes softened. Knowledge is a precious gift. Your sacrifice is accepted. The tome vanished from Eamon's hands, dissolving into the air. The spring glowed brighter, a sign that the first step had been taken. Thane stepped forward next, his face resolute. "I have always served others, but I have also harbored a desire for recognition, to be seen as more than a servant. I give up that desire, knowing that true service needs no reward." The guardian nodded, and Thane felt a weight lift from his shoulders. The spring's glow intensified, the magic responding to their sacrifices. Kale approached the spring, his heart heavy. "I have lived in the shadow of my curse, yearning for acceptance and love. I give up that desire, understanding that true redemption comes from within." The guardian's gaze softened further. "Your sacrifice is accepted." Finally, Alara stepped forward, her eyes filled with determination. "I have always strived to be the hero, to save everyone. But I realize now that true heroism is not about glory. I give up my desire for recognition, knowing that the greatest deeds are often unseen." The guardian smiled, a warm, ethereal glow. "Your sacrifices have unlocked the spring's power. You have proven yourselves worthy." The spring burst into life, its waters flowing freely and filling the valley with a vibrant, magical energy. The group watched in awe as the drought-stricken land began to heal, the promise of renewal and hope fulfilled. Eamon, Thane, Kyle, and Alara stood together, their hearts lighter and their spirits united. They had faced their inner demons, made selfless sacrifices, and emerged victorious. The kingdom of Eldoria would be saved, and their journey had forged bonds that would last a lifetime. With the hidden valley behind them and the spring's magic in their hearts, they began the journey home, ready to share their tale and the promise of a brighter future. The bridge of illusions had tested them, but they had proven that together they could overcome anything. Chapter 7, Crossing the Bridge. the valley behind them, and the promise of salvation ahead, the group began their journey back across the Bridge of Illusions. The path, once shrouded in mystery and foreboding, now seemed almost welcoming. Yet, as they approached the bridge, a sense of unease crept over them. The final challenge lay not in the journey to the spring, but in the crossing back with the knowledge and power they had gained. Ilara led the way, her heart still pounding from the sacrifice she had made. The reflection in the water, the image of herself as a hero, had been hard to let go. She walked with purpose, her steps echoing on the bridge's ethereal surface. Behind her, Kale, Thane, and Eamon followed, each lost in their own thoughts. "Remember," Eamon said softly, "the bridge tests us not just when we approach, but also when we leave. We must remain vigilant." The air shimmered, and the bridge's magic enveloped them once more. Ilara felt a chill run down her spine as the world around them shifted. The familiar landscape of Eldoria blurred, replaced by a swirling mist that obscured their path. "We must stay together," Ilara called, her voice steady despite the unease gnawing at her. "Trust in each other." They pressed on, the mist thickening with each step. Shapes began to form in the fog, ghostly figures and shadows that danced at the edges of their vision. Ilara felt a tug at her consciousness, a whispering voice that tried to draw her away from the path. "Do you really think you can save them?" the voice hissed. "Your sacrifice was meaningless. You will fail." Ilara clenched her fists, forcing herself to focus. "I will not listen to you," she said aloud. "I have come too far to be swayed by illusions." Beside her, Kale struggled with his own demons. The bridge's magic probed his mind, conjuring images of his past, moments of failure, of pain. The curse that had haunted him for so long seemed to rise up, a palpable presence that threatened to overwhelm him. "You are cursed," the voice taunted. "You bring nothing but misery. How can you hope to save anyone?" Kale's jaw tightened. "I have faced my past," he said, his voice resolute. "I am more than my curse." Thane, too, found himself battling the bridge's illusions. The shadows seemed to morph into familiar faces. His family, lost to bandits so many years ago. Their eyes pleaded with him, their voices a chorus of accusations and sorrow. "You failed us," they cried. "You couldn't save us. How can you save anyone now?" Thane took a deep breath, his heart aching. "I cannot change the past," he said softly. "But I can honor your memory by protecting those I love now." Eamon, the last to confront the bridge's magic, felt a deep sorrow welling up within him. He saw visions of his younger self, consumed by a thirst for knowledge that had often led him to neglect those around him. The faces of friends and loved ones, now distant memories, floated before him. "You sacrificed so much for knowledge," the voice whispered. "Was it worth it?" Eamon closed his eyes, a single tear slipping down his cheek. "Knowledge is a burden, but it is also a gift. I will use what I have learned to help others." The mist began to recede, the path ahead becoming clearer. The bridge, recognizing their strength and resolve, seemed to yield to their determination. They emerged from the fog, the other side of the bridge, now within sight. Elara took the final steps onto solid ground, her heart light with relief. She turned to see her companions following, their expressions weary but triumphant. They had crossed the bridge of illusions, not once, but twice, and had emerged stronger for it. As they made their way back to Eldoria, the landscape around them began to change. The signs of drought and despair gave way to a vibrant resurgence of life. Rivers flowed with renewed vigor. Fields of crops stood tall and green, and the air was filled with the sounds of joy and laughter. The people of Eldoria greeted them with cheers and tears of gratitude. The news of the hidden spring and the brave souls who had unlocked its power spread like wildfire. King Alden stood at the gates of the palace, his eyes filled with pride and relief as he embraced his son, Cale, and thanked each of the heroes for their unwavering courage. Elara, Cale, Thane, and Eamon stood together, their hearts united by the trials they had faced. They had saved their kingdom, but more importantly, they had found strength within themselves and each other. The bridge of illusions had tested them, but it had also forged bonds that would endure for a lifetime. As the celebrations began, the group looked to the future with hope. They had proven that even in the face of the greatest challenges, unity, sacrifice, and unwavering resolve could overcome any obstacle. Eldoria was saved, and its people, guided by the lessons of the past, faced a future filled with promise and possibility. Chapter 8: Facing Inner Demons. The return journey from the hidden valley began with a sense of triumph, but as the days passed, a heavy silence settled over the group. Each member was lost in thought, grappling with the inner demons they had confronted on the bridge of illusions. The trials they had faced had left them scarred, their hearts weighed down by the sacrifices they had made. Elara led the way, her steps purposeful, but her mind troubled. She had always prided herself on her strength and resilience, but the bridge had shown her vulnerabilities she had never acknowledged. The desire for recognition, for validation as a hero, had been a hidden driving force, and letting go of it had shaken her to the core. One night, as they camped by a bubbling brook, Alara sat apart from the group, staring into the flames. Kale joined her, his presence a silent comfort. They had grown closer during the journey, each finding solace in the other's strength. "Alara," Kale began, his voice soft. "I know the bridge's illusions were difficult for you. They were for all of us." Alara sighed, her gaze never leaving the fire. "I always believed I was selfless, that I did everything for the good of others. But the bridge showed me that I wanted recognition, that I needed to be seen as a hero. It was humbling, and it made me doubt myself." Kale nodded, understanding her turmoil. "We all have desires and fears, Alara. The bridge forced us to confront them, but it doesn't mean we are defined by them. You are still the courageous, selfless person I have always admired." Alara turned to him, her eyes filled with gratitude. "Thank you, Kale. Your words mean a lot to me." Kale smiled, a warmth spreading through him. "And you were right, you know. We can overcome anything together." As the night deepened, Thane and Eamon joined them by the fire, the camaraderie between them a balm to their weary souls. Thane, ever the loyal servant, spoke of his own revelations on the bridge. "I realized that my desire for recognition was holding me back," Thane admitted. "I wanted to be more than just a servant, to be seen as a hero in my own right. But true service doesn't need validation. It's enough to know that I am making a difference." Eamon nodded thoughtfully. "The pursuit of knowledge has always been my life's purpose, but the bridge showed me the cost of that pursuit. I neglected those I cared about, lost in my quest for understanding. Now, I see that knowledge is most valuable when it is shared, when it helps others." The group fell into a comfortable silence, the crackling of the fire and the gentle sounds of the brook providing a soothing backdrop. They had faced their inner demons and come to terms with their pasts. Now, they were stronger, united by the trials they had endured. As they resumed their journey the next day, the landscape of Eldoria began to change. The signs of drought and despair faded, replaced by lush greenery and vibrant life. The kingdom was healing, a testament to the power of the hidden spring and the sacrifices made to unlock its magic. Their path led them through a village that had once been on the brink of collapse. Now it thrived, the fields abundant and the people joyous. The villagers greeted them with cheers and gratitude, their faces alight with hope. Alara, Kale, Thane, and Eamon felt a deep sense of fulfillment. They had saved their kingdom, But more importantly, they had found strength within themselves and each other. The journey had tested them in ways they had never imagined, but it had also forged bonds that would endure for a lifetime. As they approached the capital, the grand spires of the palace came into view. King Alden awaited them at the gates, his eyes filled with pride and relief. He embraced each of them, his gratitude palpable. "Thank you," the king said, his voice choked with emotion. "You have saved Eldoria. You have given us hope." Alara smiled, her heart light. "We did it together, Your Majesty. It was our unity, our sacrifices, that made this possible." The celebrations that followed were grand and joyous, a testament to the resilience and spirit of Eldoria. The people honored their heroes, but Alara, Cale, Thane, and Aemon knew that the true reward lay in the bonds they had forged and the lessons they had learned. As the festivities continued, the group stood together, looking out over the kingdom they had saved. The bridge of illusions had tested them, but they had emerged stronger, united by a shared purpose and a common hope. The future of Eldoria was bright, and they faced it with unwavering resolve and the promise of a new beginning. Chapter 9: The Illusions Unveiled. The celebrations of Eldoria's salvation had scarcely died down when the group found themselves back in the royal palace, summoned for a private audience with King Alden. The king's gratitude was profound, but there was an undercurrent of urgency in his demeanor, a hint that their journey might not yet be complete. In the grand hall, the golden light of dawn filtered through the stained glass windows, casting vibrant hues across the marble floor. King Alden stood before them, his expression both relieved and troubled. "Alara, Cale, Thane, Aemon," he began, his voice resonant. "Your courage and sacrifices have saved our kingdom. But there is something more I must share with you." Alara stepped forward, her eyes questioning. "What is it, Your Majesty?" The king gestured to Aemon, who produced a second scroll, older and more fragile than the first. "This prophecy," Aemon explained, "speaks of a deeper truth. The Bridge of Illusions is not just a trial. It is a gateway to understanding the hidden forces that shape our world." Cale frowned, his curiosity piqued. "What do you mean, Aemon?" Aemon unrolled the scroll, revealing ancient symbols and cryptic text. The bridge revealed our inner demons, but it also hinted at a greater power, a source of wisdom and strength that we have yet to fully comprehend. The illusions were a test, but also a guide. Thane looked thoughtful. "Are you saying there is more to the bridge than we realized? That we must return?" King Alden nodded. "Yes. The drought was a symptom of a larger imbalance. The hidden spring was a solution, but not the end. The prophecy suggests that the true challenge lies in understanding the illusions and the truths they conceal. Alara's heart quickened. She had thought their journey was over, that they had triumphed. Yet, a part of her had always felt that the bridge held secrets they had yet to uncover. "We must return," she said resolutely. "We must face the bridge again and unveil the deeper truths it guards." With renewed purpose, the group prepared for their journey back to the Bridge of Illusions. The path was familiar, yet it felt different, charged with the knowledge of what lay ahead. The landscape of Eldoria, now vibrant and alive, seemed to whisper encouragement as they passed. As they approached the bridge, its ethereal beauty once again took their breath away. The silvery arch shimmered in the light, a portal to the unknown. They stepped onto the bridge, the air around them humming with energy. The illusions began almost immediately, but this time they were different. The mist swirled, revealing not their fears, but their desires, their hopes, and their greatest strengths. Alara saw herself leading her people with compassion and wisdom, her heart free of the need for recognition. Kale saw a future where his curse was not a burden, but a source of strength and empathy. Thane saw himself as a protector, valued not for his service, but for his unwavering heart. Eamon saw the fruits of his knowledge shared with the world, bringing enlightenment and peace. The illusions shifted, and they found themselves in a vast hall of mirrors, each reflection showing not just who they were, but who they could become. The air was thick with possibility, the reflections urging them to look deeper. Eamon stepped forward, his voice steady. The prophecy speaks of unveiling the illusions. We must look beyond the surface, to the truths that lie beneath. Alara approached a mirror, her reflection smiling back at her. "We must accept who we are," she said softly. "Only then can we understand the true nature of our journey." The group stood together, each facing their reflection, each seeing not just their flaws, but their potential. The bridge's magic seemed to respond, the mirrors glowing with a soft, golden light. Kale spoke, his voice filled with conviction. The illusions were never meant to deceive us, but to guide us. They showed us our fears so we could overcome them, our desires so we could understand them, and our strengths so we could embrace them. As the last word left his lips, the mirror shattered, the golden light enveloping them. They felt a surge of understanding, a connection to something greater. The bridge's true power was not in testing them, but in revealing the deepest truths of their hearts. The light faded, and they found themselves standing on the other side of the bridge, transformed. The air was crisp and clear, the path ahead illuminated with a new sense of purpose. Eamon smiled, a look of profound peace on his face. We have unveiled the illusions. We have seen the truths within ourselves. Now, we must use that knowledge to guide Eldoria to a brighter future. Alara, Kale, Thane, and Eamon walked forward, their hearts united and their spirits strong. They had faced the bridge of illusions, unveiled its secrets, and emerged not just as saviors of their kingdom, but as beacons of hope and wisdom. Chapter 10, The Hidden Source. As the group emerged from the bridge of illusions, they found themselves standing before the hidden valley once more. The lush greenery and vibrant life around them seemed almost surreal after the trials they had endured. The air was filled with the sweet scent of blooming flowers, and the gentle murmur of the magical spring was a soothing melody that calmed their weary souls. Alara stepped forward, her eyes scanning the valley. We've crossed the bridge and unveiled its illusions. Now, we must understand the true nature of the hidden source. Eamon nodded, his gaze thoughtful. The prophecy spoke of a source of wisdom and strength. The spring's magic is not just in its water, but in the knowledge it holds. We must look deeper. They approached the spring, its waters sparkling under the midday sun. As they gazed into its depths, the water seemed to shift and swirl, forming images that flickered like visions from a dream. Alara knelt by the edge, her reflection merging with the images below. Kale joined her, his hand resting on her shoulder. What do you see, Alara? Alara's voice was soft, almost reverent. I see our journey, the trials we faced, and the sacrifices we made. The spring is showing us our past, but also hinting at our future. Eamon leaned in, his eyes narrowing as he studied the images. The spring holds the memories of the land, the history of Eldoria. It is a well of knowledge, a connection to the wisdom of those who came before us. Thane stood back, his expression contemplative. So, the hidden source is not just water, but the essence of our people, our history. It's a guide, showing us the way forward. Alara dipped her hand into the spring, the cool water sending a shiver up her spine. We must learn from it, understand its messages. Only then can we truly save Eldoria. As they gazed into the spring, the images began to change, revealing scenes of Eldoria's past, moments of great triumph and devastating loss. They saw the founding of the kingdom, the rise and fall of its leaders, the struggles of its people. Each image was a lesson, a piece of the puzzle that formed their collective history. Eamon's voice was filled with awe. This is our legacy, our inheritance. The spring holds the wisdom of generations. We must honor it and use it to guide our actions. Kale's hand tightened on Alara's shoulder. We have the knowledge. Now, we must act. We must return to Eldoria and share what we have learned. Thane nodded, his eyes reflecting the determination in his heart. We must rebuild our kingdom, using the wisdom of the past to create a better future. With newfound purpose, the group filled their flasks with the spring's water, knowing it held not just the power to heal their land, but the wisdom to guide their people. They turned back towards the bridge, ready to return to Eldoria and share their discoveries. The journey back across the Bridge of Illusions was different this time. The trials they had faced and the truths they had unveiled gave them a sense of clarity and strength. The bridge, once a place of fear and uncertainty, now felt like a path to enlightenment. As they crossed the bridge, the mist swirled around them, but the illusions held no power over them now. They saw their reflections, not as distorted images of fear and desire, but as true representations of who they were, strong, united, and wise. Alara felt a sense of peace settle over her as they stepped onto solid ground. We have the knowledge. Now, we must use it wisely. Kale smiled, his eyes filled with determination. We will rebuild Eldoria, stronger and more united than ever before. Thane and Eamon nodded in agreement, their hearts filled with hope. They had faced their inner demons, unveiled the hidden truths, and discovered the true nature of the hidden source. Now, it was time to act. As they approached the capital, the people of Eldoria greeted them with cheers and tears of joy. King Alden stood at the gates, his eyes shining with pride and relief. "You have returned," the king said, his voice filled with emotion. "What have you discovered?" Alara stepped forward, her voice steady and filled with conviction. "We have discovered the true nature of the hidden source. It is not just water, but the wisdom and legacy of our people. We must use this knowledge to rebuild our kingdom, to create a future filled with hope and prosperity." The king nodded, his heart swelling with pride. "Then let us begin. Together, we will build a brighter future for Eldoria. With the hidden source's wisdom to guide them, Alara, Kale, Thane, and Eamon set to work, leading their people with courage and compassion. They had faced the Bridge of Illusions, unveiled its secrets, and emerged stronger for it. The future of Eldoria was bright, and they faced it with unwavering resolve and the promise of a new beginning. Chapter 11. The Return Journey. The sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows over the road As the group made their way back to the capital of Eldoria, the journey, though filled with the triumph of their discoveries, was tinged with a quiet reflection. They had crossed the bridge of illusions, unveiled hidden truths, and now carried the weight of those revelations with them. Ilara led the way, her mind turning over the images from the spring. The history of Eldoria had played out before her, a tapestry woven from countless lives and events. She understood now that their journey was just the beginning. The real work lay ahead, in applying the wisdom they had gained to heal and rebuild their kingdom. Kale walked beside her, his step steady and his expression thoughtful. The curse that had once haunted him seemed to have lifted, replaced by a newfound sense of purpose. He had faced his demons and emerged stronger. But he knew that the road to redemption was long. His heart was filled with a quiet determination to prove himself, not just to his people, but to himself. Thane and Eamon followed close behind, their conversations hushed, but filled with the gravity of their mission. Thane, ever the loyal servant, had found a deeper sense of self-worth through the trials they had faced. Eamon, the wise old man, felt a profound connection to the past and a responsibility to guide the future. As they approached a small village on the outskirts of the capital, they were greeted with cheers and tears of joy. The villagers, who had once faced starvation and despair, now thrived. The effects of the hidden spring's magic were evident in the lush fields and the vibrant faces of the people. "Look at what we've accomplished," Thane said, his voice filled with wonder. "This is just the beginning." Ilara smiled, her heart swelling with pride. "Yes, Thane, but we must ensure that this prosperity lasts. We must lead by example and share the wisdom we have gained." The group spent the night in the village, sharing stories of their journey and the lessons they had learned. The villagers listened with rapt attention, their faces reflecting a mixture of awe and hope. Ilara, Kale, Thane, and Eamon spoke of the bridge of illusions, the trials they had faced, and the hidden source they had discovered. The next morning, they set out for the capital. The road was familiar, but the weight of their mission added a new sense of urgency. As they neared the grand spires of the palace, the reality of their task settled over them. They had returned with knowledge and wisdom, but now they had to put it into action. King Alden awaited them at the gates, his expression a mixture of relief and anticipation. "You have returned," he said, his voice resonant with emotion. "What have you learned?" Ilara stepped forward, her voice steady and filled with conviction. we have discovered the true nature of the hidden source. It is not just water, but the wisdom and legacy of our people. We must use this knowledge to rebuild our kingdom, to create a future filled with hope and prosperity. The king's eyes shone with pride. Then let us begin. Together, we will build a brighter future for Eldoria. The days that followed were filled with tireless work and unwavering dedication. Alara, Kale, Thane, and Aemon led the efforts to restore the kingdom, using the wisdom they had gained to guide their actions. They rebuilt homes, revitalized farmlands, and fostered a sense of unity and purpose among the people. Alara focused on leadership, her heart dedicated to serving her people with compassion and wisdom. She understood now that true heroism lay not in glory, but in selfless service. Kale found redemption in his actions, working tirelessly to help those in need. His curse, once a source of shame, had become a reminder of his strength and resilience. Thane's loyalty and resourcefulness were invaluable, his dedication to Alara and the kingdom unwavering. He had found his place, not just as a servant, but as a valued and respected leader. Aemon shared his knowledge freely, teaching the people of Eldoria the lessons of the past and the wisdom of the spring. His life's work had found its purpose, and he felt a deep sense of fulfillment. As the kingdom of Eldoria flourished, the group knew that their journey had only just begun. The bridge of illusions had tested them, unveiled hidden truths, and transformed them into the leaders their kingdom needed. Together, they faced the future with hope and determination, ready to guide Eldoria into a new era of enlightenment and peace. Chapter 12, A New Beginning. The dawn of a new era spread its golden light across Eldoria. The capital, once stricken with drought and despair, now bustled with life and energy. The people, inspired by the courage and wisdom of their heroes, embraced the promise of a brighter future. King Alden declared a day of celebration, honoring Alara, Kale, Thane, and Aemon for their bravery and leadership. The grand square of the capital was filled with laughter and music. Stalls brimming with vibrant flowers and fresh produce lined the streets. The air was rich with the scent of baked goods and the sound of joyous chatter. It was a scene of renewal, a testament to the resilience and unity of the people. Alara stood at the heart of the celebration, her gaze sweeping over the crowd. She felt a deep sense of fulfillment and responsibility. The journey had tested her in ways she had never imagined, but it had also shown her the true meaning of leadership. She understood now that her role was not just to lead, but to inspire and uplift those around her. Kale stood beside her, his presence a comforting reminder of their shared journey. The weight of his curse had lifted, replaced by a newfound confidence. He had discovered that redemption was not about erasing the past, but about building a better future. His actions had proven his worth, and the people of Eldoria now looked to him with respect and admiration. Thane moved through the crowd, his warm smile and reassuring presence bringing comfort to all he encountered. He had found his place, not just as a servant, but as a leader in his own right. His loyalty and dedication were unwavering, and he knew that his true value lay in his ability to support and uplift others. Eamon, the wise old man whose knowledge had guided them through their trials, shared stories and lessons with the people. His life's work had found its purpose, and he felt a deep sense of fulfillment. He knew that the wisdom of the past was a beacon for the future, and he dedicated himself to ensuring that Eldoria would continue to thrive. As the day wore on, King Alden took the stage, his voice ringing out across the square. "People of Eldoria," he began, his eyes shining with pride. "Today, we celebrate not just the end of our trials, but the beginning of a new era. Alara, Cale, Thane, and Eamon have shown us that true strength lies in unity, courage, and wisdom. They have led us through the darkest of times and brought us into the light. Let us honor their sacrifices and carry their lessons forward as we build a brighter future together." The crowd erupted in cheers, the sound echoing through the streets. Alara felt a surge of emotion, her heart swelling with pride and gratitude. She knew that the journey was far from over, but she also knew that they had the strength and wisdom to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As the celebration continued, Alara found a moment of quiet reflection. She walked to the edge of the square, her eyes turning to the horizon. The Bridge of Illusions had been a crucible, testing and refining them. It had revealed their deepest fears and desires, but it had also shown them their true strength. Cale joined her, his hand resting gently on her shoulder. "What are you thinking about?" he asked, his voice soft. Alara smiled, her eyes meeting his. "About the journey, and about the future. We've come so far, but there's still so much to do." Cale nodded, his gaze steady. "We'll face it together. Whatever comes, we'll face it together." Thane and Eamon approached, their expressions reflecting the same determination. They had faced their inner demons, unveiled hidden truths, and discovered the true nature of the hidden source. Now, they were ready to lead Eldoria into a new era of enlightenment and peace. The four of them stood together, a united front against the challenges of the future. They had proven that even in the face of the greatest trials, unity sacrifice, and unwavering resolve could overcome any obstacle. The bridge of illusions had tested them, but it had also forged bonds that would endure for a lifetime. As the sun set over Eldoria, casting a golden glow over the land, Alara, Kale, Thane, and Aemon faced the future with hope and determination. They had saved their kingdom, but more importantly, they had found strength within themselves and each other. The journey ahead was filled with promise, and together they would lead Eldoria into a new beginning, a future bright with possibility and peace.